Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Pillar Sports. Today, we have seen a reaction from the Premier League, from the Leicester City side that had Ruud van Nistelrooy. And it's basically been said here that Ruud van Nistelrooy has been sacked with immediate effect. It is going to effect right away. Ruud van Nistelrooy leaves club as he has had an abysmal start to life at Leicester City. Leicester City rebuild in the championship is shaping up to be a pivotal moment for the club, and they are already eyeing integral managerial options to lead the charge. One standout candidate is Russell Martin, the former Southampton boss. Despite a rough Premier League campaign with the Saints, Martin is admired for his possession-based style, reminiscent of Enzo Maresca's approach that previously brought Leicester promotion. He's also led by some. He also led Southampton to a record-breaking run in the championships, earning um, promotion via the playoffs. Another name in the mix is Carlos Cobaran. Carlos Cobaran, currently at West Brom. He has built a strong reputation with the playoff runs at both Huddersfield and West Brom, and its technical pedigree shaped under Marcelo Bielsa makes him a compelling option. If you do not remember who Marcelo Bielsa is, he's the current coach of Uruguay, I believe, and somebody that made his huge name in the Premier League with Leeds and their style of play. So one thing is for sure, these are ballers. These are really good coaches, and it's quite sad to see Ruud van Nistelrooy exit Leicester City. However, he just did not do the job well. He did not do the job well. It's quite disappointing, but that is what we see. And you know for a fact, Van Nistelrooy is a legend of the club. He is a legend of the club, and every single thing when it comes to Manchester United, I want to support him. But Ruud van Nistelrooy has been sacked by Leicester City, and that is quite unfortunate. The club's strategy seems to be focused on finding a manager who understands the championship grind, but also brings a progressive attacking philosophy. Given Leicester City's financial constraints and the need to build smartly, they will likely prioritize a coach who can develop young talent and work within a tight budget. If they get disappointment, right, Leicester City could bounce back quickly, wanting to explore. That is one thing that you know for a fact Leicester City can do. But however, let's talk about Ruud van Nistelrooy right now. Ruud van Nistelrooy's time at Leicester City has officially come to an end following the club's relegation from the Premier League. He took over in November 2024 with the goal of keeping the Foxes in the top flight, but things quickly unraveled. His record was abysmal. That's one thing that we have to know. His record as Leicester City boss was abysmal. Just 7 points from 18 Premier League matches, making it one of the worst starts for a Premier League manager in history. Under his leadership, Leicester City set a brutal record, 8 consecutive home defeats without scoring a single goal. For a person that did scoring for a living, it is mind blowing that his team could not buy a goal in the back of the net. They just couldn't buy a goal. And this record is going to haunt the Dutch international for a long time. It is. It truly is. Now I know he's going to bounce back because Ruud van Nistelrooy, to me, is a talented manager, and what he did in the DDCA is not to be sneezed at. However, he needs to go back into the drawing board and learn his craft a bit more. Learn his craft a bit more because it is not what you want as a coach. This is not the way you want to go out as a coach. Now he doesn't need to be doing this. He basically stated in one of his interviews, if not for his wife kicking him out of the house, he would not be a coach. Now he's enjoying it now, but I believe this is more of a reason to go back to the drawing board, settle down, figure out your coaching style, and come right back into coaching and do not miss a beat. So we look at this situation. The reasons of his sacking were a mixture of poor results and timing. The clubs the club delayed the decision until June 30th, well, June 27th. Um, to avoid complications with their profitability and sustainability rules accounting. Once the window passed, the dismissal was made official. Despite the outcome, the club acknowledged his professionalism and his efforts to integrate academy players into the first team. Still, the result on the pitch left a room, little room for any sentiment. So that's one thing about this situation. It is quite disappointing, it's quite sad, but we see here one of our legends from Manchester United, one of the people under the tree of Sir Alex Ferguson, the greatest manager of all time, losing his job. Losing his job when it comes to coaching. It's quite disappointing. It truly is. It truly is. And then, anyway, let's talk about another Manchester United legend or some sort, or some may argue, Tom Heaton. Tom Heaton has just signed his new contract with Manchester United, which is a 1 year contract, and is going to remain at Manchester United as the third choice goalkeeper. He is more of somebody that is a leader in the dressing room than someone that we are going to be expecting to be playing 10 to 12 games this season. You understand me? He is going to be a body that would absolutely make sure that the goalkeeper room is clicking on all cylinders. So that's one thing that we know for sure that Tom Heaton will bring to Manchester United. Following that story, we have more on our exclusive story regarding Nick Votamande. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Nick Votamande and the FC Bayern. A verbal agreement until 2030. 2030 was reached quickly this week. It followed an impressive video call between Votamande company and Iberil, which who is Ibero and Freinet, which are basically the people running Bayern Munich today. Bayern plan to begin a formal negotiations with Stuttgart in order for them to get Voldemort out of the German team. So that's definitely something that's happening right now. And the things that one, if you guys do not know and you missed today, is that Lewis Kelly is presented to senior figures. That's one thing we know for sure. I think that's also from the Athletic. Um, he basically cited a lot of situations, and I think it's really good that Arsenal have been able to actually secure this deal. Because one thing is for sure, Miles Lewis Kelly, without the contract, would definitely find a new home. His role, the deal, the Mamba mentality that he has, and most especially Arteta's trust. This boy has absolutely figured out what he needs to do in the Arsenal team. And he's going to be there for a long time. Now, 11 years since Manchester United signed Luke Shaw. If there's anything we know lately, Manchester United have been saying farewell to the likes of Lindelof and Ericsson. I wonder if this is the farewell that they are giving Luke Shaw. I truly wonder if this is the farewell they're giving Luke Shaw because brother, he needs to leave. I'm sorry, but he needs to leave. Another news when it comes to the updates in the transfer window is Lille are closing in on a deal to sign Olivier Giroud from LAFC with talks at the final stages. Giroud has already opened doors to the move and he's keen on returning to European football. So that is good news. It is good news for me because Giroud is one of, if not one of the highest or the best French strikers of this decade. You get me? Yes, he was compared to compared as a go-kart between him and Benzema. But that go-kart was definitely moving fast. That go-kart basically has the most goals, if I'm not mistaken, in French international football. And we have to give him his flowers. So him coming back to French football and I believe replacing Jonathan David is no joke. It's nothing to be sneezed at, and I think it's pretty dope, in my opinion. The medical is ready for Paul Pogba and Ansu Fati as both players have arrived at Monaco on Thursday evening. Plan fully confirmed as both signings are set to be sealed. AS Monaco director Thiago Sorco, or Soro, Coro, Coro, I believe his name is Coro, um, key to prepare the strategy make it happen. So that's definitely one thing for sure, is that we are seeing Paul Pogba and Ansu Fati join Monaco. This is the first time Paul Pogba is playing in Ligue 1. By the way, he is a French legend. Yes, I said it. He is a French legend. And this is the first time he's playing in Ligue 1. And with the likes of Kylian Mbappe leaving Paris Saint-Germain, and the club and the league intent looking for someone else to take that position to be the superstar. I know Paul Pogba hasn't played in 2 years, but Paul Pogba is still a polarizing figure. Paul Pogba is still somebody that would absolutely create flex for Ligue 1. And so they have gotten themselves another superstar. And that is amazing, in my opinion. Before we go on, I need to take a sip of water. And then we have another news about Timothy Weah. Tim Weah's agent basically came out and spoke about the situation of people trying to make him go to Nottingham Forest. It is basically reported here that he says the winger left out of the Juventus squad. Where is a fantastic and is a fantastic player and fantastic teammate. See people acting like this is for money, and because they are selfish, is disappointing, to say the least. This is a shame. Anyway, until I am here, nobody will push one of my players and advise them to go right or left like a marionette. I don't know why he's speaking like this. I am happy that Timo has a top education and top personality to stay focused on the game. That's one thing is for sure. Timothy Ware does not want to join Nottingham Forest. He is playing and played well, by might I add, especially at the end of last season. Played well for Juventus, contributed to them actually placing in where they are placing right now. But the fact that Juventus were trying to sell him for what is, to me, and a very insulting price is just mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing to me because Timothy Ware is a baller. He has pace for days. He has the technical ability and has the strength to actually do more. And so, with the new coach coming in, I understand, but I don't understand why you want to tell somebody that could be a versatile piece for you. I don't understand why you would want to sell that away. But guess what? Timothy Ware has basically rejected it. He's under contract, and I believe he's here to stay for a long run. So that's what we are talking about today. We have a lot of things going on today, but I'm going to be keeping you guys updated, most especially with what is going on in the transfer market. We also have an exclusive story about uh, Ivan Perisic. Ivan Perisic signs a 2-year deal with PSV Eindhoven. Agreements done yesterday until June 2027. I don't understand what this guy is drinking from the fountain of youth, but brother, this guy is still going. He was still integral in PSV winning their league last summer, last year. This, I believe, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this guy is 34 or 35 years of age. If I am not mistaken, you get me. If I let me check, how old how old is Ivan Perisic? Let's see. I guess Siri doesn't know how to check or what the name of Ivan Perisic is. How old is Ivan Perisic? He's 36 years of age. 36 years of age, still playing very well in Europe, and actually contributing in a very, very um dope spot, contributing very well for PSV. And so it doesn't make sense that he leaves. It honestly doesn't make sense that he leaves. Oh my God. Everything is going crazy today. It doesn't make sense that he leaves. You get me? It truly doesn't. And so now let's talk about Xavi Alonso and my boy, one of my favorite players of this era, Bobby. If you guys do not know who Bobby is a talented striker for Real Madrid. That is Bobby right there. Bobby is Endrick. Endrick basically, if you have not heard the joke, Endrick basically said that the players that he loved watching the most is Sir Bobby Charlton. It was funny at the time, it's still funny today. It is still funny today. But you can basically see here that Xavi Alonso has spoken finally about Endrick. He says here, Endrick is definitely in my plans. I want him back as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Real Madrid, I don't understand how they had this talent and he just never got time. Now we have basically been seeing Gonzalo Garcia playing for Real Madrid and actually doing very well. I think he scored a goal last night. He scored a goal last night, and guess what? That is more competition for Endrick. It is more competition for Endrick. So it is something that for sure, we know that Endrick is going to be having more competition because Kylian Mbappe is going to start. And if Kylian Mbappe is starting in that front line, Endrick is just going down the pecking order with Garcia coming in. Garcia is a lot bigger, has a lot more ability in terms of a pressing ability, and now he's showing that he can finish. That is not good news for Endrick. It is not good news for Endrick. And something else that, or someone else that has basically found his playing time under Xavi Alonso is Arda Gurla. Arda Gurla is in and is playing. He is playing and scoring goals, may I add. Scoring good goals. But of course, one of the leaders of the team, Vini Jr., he basically goes on to speak after getting the man of the match award against the final group stage game at the Club World Cup. He says, Madrid is the club of my life. I hope to continue here for many more years. I love Real Madrid. I owe everything to this club. Pressure and criticisms are not a problem. I am so happy with this club, the new coach Xavi, and these players. One thing we know for sure is Vinny Jr. has been having conversations with the club about a new deal. A new deal. You understand me? He has been having a lot of conversations with the club about a new deal. He hasn't gotten it yet because what he's demanding is a lot of money. He's demanding a lot of money, which would make him, I believe, the highest paid player, which will make him the highest paid player in in La Liga. You understand? Now, I believe he deserves the money, but I also know that that will break the the wage structure because what you see in that situation is, yes, they might give him the job. They might give Vinny Jr. the job and give him the wages that he deserves and he wants. But guess what happens next? Jude Bellingham is coming into the room. He's going to come into the room and say, hey, I deserve more. I've been doing more. I deserve more. And that is where you start seeing situations. You start seeing situations kind of get really thirsty because Jude goes in, I want more. And then right below that, you see Kylian Mbappe coming right after saying, hey, I scored 30 goals last season. I deserve more. And it's just going to continue like that until one of them is being sold or all of them. That's one of the things that happened at Manchester United. We saw the mistake of Manchester United signing Alexis Sanchez to the contract and the wages that he did. What happened next? David De Gea came in and said, hey, I was the best player for Manchester United last 2 seasons. I deserve more. The next thing, Marcus Rashford was up. I deserve more. And then you got Cristiano coming and getting literally 500,000 per week. Now, that is literally chicken change to what he's going to be getting with Al Nasser with this his new contract. I believe he's going to be getting, if not 7 to 10 million a week for Al Nasser. It's mind blowing. I don't even want to go into that because it's just be depressing talking about someone else's pockets. But we do not pocket watch here, so that's good. But before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. If you find this of value, please hit that subscribe button because it tells YouTube that you are rocking with us and we basically getting the job done. You get me? Philly Jr. basically speaks after the game saying pressing the defenders is key. Xavi Alonso is telling us what to do day by day. It has been 2 very good weeks. The team is playing more compact. That is true. That is true. If there's one thing that you guys want to know about Xavi Alonso and this system that Xavi plays, is that he is not going to be letting his team get run through. He is not Bunny Blue, nor is he Nigerian's president Bulabalu. Bro, I'm not even going to lie, that was bars. Those were bars right there. He's not going to let the team go get run through like Bunny Blue, nor Nigerian president Bulabalu. You get me? So let's keep on going. Um, we have the words of Trent here. He basically says, Vini Jr. has given me a lot of difficulties in past games. It's good that it is happening now to other people rather than me. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vini Jr. is a menace on the pitch. He is a menace on the pitch. So when you do not have to go through Vini Jr., that is good news. It is good news for a lot of people. So let's look at what the Club World Cup has to offer so far, as we haven't touched on this for the last time, for the longest of times. So we are going to look forward to it now, and I'm going to be giving you guys my prediction here. So in this video here, in this kind of setup, this is what the Club World Cup is looking at right now, and we have Palmeiras, and I believe this is Botafogo. I believe Botafogo actually goes through here, and we have Benfica versus Chelsea. I think Chelsea are just firing on all cylinders right now, and Chelsea go through. So it's basically going to be Botafogo versus Chelsea. You get me? And then in this situation, you have Inter Milan, but I think this is Flamengo. No, I think this is Flamengo. I'm not sure who this is. Forgotten the badge. I know who the badge is, but I think Inter goes through. You understand me? And then you have Manchester City versus Al Hilal. I think City are just on a vengeance store, and I believe City go through. And then in this situation, let's go into the other side of this. You have Paris Saint-Germain versus Inter Miami. This is going to be a big game because it's basically Messi facing his previous team, and Messi out for blood in this situation. Inter Miami is definitely the representation of the MLS left in this Club World Cup. And they have to go as far as possible with Messi basically directing them. However, I think this is the last part that they are going to play because PSG dismantled them quite easily. Then you have Flamengo, who is actually one of my favorite teams to watch in Brazil football. Flamengo versus Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich goes through. Borussia Dortmund versus Monza, I believe that's their name. Borussia goes through, in my mind. And Real Madrid versus Juventus. I don't think this is even an argument. Real Madrid go through. And so let's go back into the round of eight. I mean, whatever it's called, the round of eight, and let's actually talk about who gets through this. So it's Botafogo versus Chelsea. This might be a little bit difficult because I believe Botafogo actually go through. These Brazilian teams have absolutely showed that they are ready to absolutely fight for this. And with them ready to fight for this particular thing, I think Chelsea go out in the round of eight and Botafogo goes into the semis. And then we have Inter versus Manchester City. I just think Manchester City are too hot right now for Inter. They are too hot right now for Inter. And so Manchester City go through. So Manchester City are in the semifinals with Botafogo in this bracket to me. And then in this bracket, in the next bracket, we are looking at PSG versus Bayern Munich. And I believe this is where Bayern Munich crash out. Because one thing is for sure, PSG are lethal. If we watched anything in the Champions League, we know for sure that PSG can beat any team when they are serious. And I've not seen anything to say the least, or to say that PSG are relaxing in this competition. So I think PSG go through to the semis. And in this situation, we're basically having Borussia Dortmund versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid gets through. Real Madrid gets through. I don't think it's going to be an offset. If it's an offset, that would be a really bad start for Xavi Alonso, because I think this would do wonders for Real Madrid's budget. However, I believe Real Madrid goes through. And in this semi-finals, on this bracket side, or the first bracket, we are looking at Botafogo versus Manchester City. Botafogo versus Manchester City, and then we're looking at PSG versus Real Madrid. And this is where I believe City get through, and Botafogo bids goodbye and heads back to Brazil. Brazil, this is Brazil. And then you see PSG versus Real Madrid, and I'm sorry, Real Madrid goes out to PSG. And then you have the finals of Manchester City versus PSG. By the way, let me know what you guys think about this situation so far. And I think PSG raises the cup, because I truly believe that they are the best side in club football right now. So let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. But those are my predictions of the Club World Cup so far. So that's definitely good news in that sense. What else do we have when it comes to the transfer window? I'm going to make sure we are up to date. So far, so we have here, reported by Florian Plattenberg, Bayern Munich talent Muniz Krakamacha. Oh my God. I know I just butchered that name. I am so sorry. But Muniz Krakamacha, um, Muniz Krakamacha has already left the Club World Cup in USA on Wednesday, with everything agreed with the coach and those responsible. Several clubs in the second Bundesliga, both also in Bundesliga, are looking to sign the 19-year-old junior international. A decision is expected in a few days. Kraken Macha is in top condition after training with Bayern, but wants to join the preparations with a new club as soon as possible. So I believe he's going to be leaving Bayern. I don't know if it's going to be a situation of a situation of a loan deal, or he's actually just going to leave totally. So we are going to be keeping you guys updated about that situation, and anything that happens, I will let you guys know in that case. What just happened? My laptop just went. Uh this is crazy. Anyway, it's back now, so we can keep going. So something that we know for sure is I just saw something about Brian Mbuemo. Well, the update about Brian Mbuemo, just so you guys know, um, is that Brian Mbuemo to Manchester United is getting hotter. It is getting harder, and that's one thing we know for sure. But before we even get into that, I want you guys to admire these boys. Pause. You get me? But look at my boys. Look at my boys putting in the hard yards, getting ready for the season. Look at Yanni Yoro building up his body, bro. He was a lanky kid before. He was a lanky kid before he came to Manchester United. Last season, lanky. Look at the strain on his neck. You know he's getting ready. Pushing this medical ball, I be this medicine ball. But the most special thing, or the most impressive thing, is this guy right here. Kobe Menu. Look at the tripes and the bicep. I'm not glazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here glazing. I'm just impressed so far in his training. I'm just impressed so far. Bro, this boy looks like a bodybuilder. You get me? He looks like a bodybuilder. Of course, after that, after the training, The boys had to go out a little bit. You get me? Enjoy their holidays with the bling bling on the neck. So that's dope, man. That is really dope. I don't know this pose. I don't know who is telling these people how to pose. No, I'm not rocking with a Gucci hat, being a hat guy, but you know Lenny Yoda can put it. He can put it on. You get me? But yeah, that's that on those situations. That is that on those situations. But look at this. Look at this. Manchester City. Ryan Cherky. Ryan Cherky. Two defenders. Can't stop this. Can't stop this. Look at the ball boy. I want you guys to pay attention to the ball boy right here. Look at the ball boy. Pay attention to this kid right here. This kid right here. Literally just minding his business, watching his dreams. You get me? Look, he get megged. And look at the reaction. Oh, you know that was good. You know that was good. You know that was good. But man, it has been exciting. It's been exciting. Usually the morning shows are absolutely exciting. But one thing is for sure, we have updates on the likes of Brian Mbuemo. Brian Mbuemo's medical is apparently going to be next week. I repeat, Brian Mbuemo's medical is apparently going to be next week because Manchester United are pushing so hard to make it possible that Brian Mbuemo is in the trip to the USA. He's on the trip to the USA so he could have the pre-season with Ruben Amorim, get to know the system and get to work with the system and get better with the players, get to know the players. And to me, that has been the best news so far. That has been the best news so far. That Manchester United are really pushing in to get this thing done. They are really pushing in to get this thing done, and I'm absolutely happy about that. Now let's hear about what Jason Wilcox had to say about Tom Heaton, because I think that is going to be a good thing because he's a leader of men in our dressing room. Leader of men. He says here about Tom Heaton. It's Jason Wilcox, by the way. He says Jason Wilcox on Tom Heaton's new Manchester United contract. Tom's leadership and experience are really important to the group. So we are pleased that he will be part of the squad again next season. Tom's mentality and excellent preparation to ensure that he's always ready to perform when called upon makes him a perfect complement in our goalkeeping group. What a way to speak about Tom Heaton. What a way to speak about your player. You get me? And it's absolutely no doubt that Tom Heaton gets to speak on the situation. Tom Heaton on his new Manchester United contract. He says, I'm extremely proud to continue to represent Manchester United as a group. We are all really excited for the season ahead. I am ready to support the team in every capacity as we prepare to get back to challenging for the biggest honors. That's what I want to hear. That's one of the leaders of Manchester United. And I'm glad, I am so glad to hear about this situation. I am so glad to hear about the situation. Luke Shaw completes major milestone for Manchester United. 11 years today. 11 years he has played for Manchester United. 11 years he has joined Manchester United. So that is definitely good news. That is definitely good news. And then we look at this situation because I think this is one of the things that Fabrizio Romano actually talked about today. He says Manchester United want to find a club to sell Andre Onana to and find 34 million euros ready to sign Atalanta goalkeeper Marco Paraneschi. Contacts took place with Atalanta today, and they are asking for a slightly higher fee. I do not know who the goalkeeper is. I'm not even going to lie to you. And maybe we can actually look at who he is as um as a person or as a team, basically. You get maybe we can do that. But let's see the edits. Maybe the edits are actually better than we thought. So that's penalty saves. He has gotten penalty saves so far, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I don't think this edit is good enough because they will just show everything in that situation. But let's see what he has to offer here. It says here, oh no, I'm just trying to kind of see. Okay, so no, this is Ryer. Let's see this save. Okay, so one thing is for sure, he dives pretty well. He dives pretty well, and this is the key part of this situation. See, a lot of goalkeepers, right, in this situation here, especially Andre Onana, right? Andre Onana tries to go with his his left hand. That has always been a problem for me. It has always been a problem for me in this situation. Goalkeepers that understands and has the fundamentals or lack the fundamentals to actually go with the right position and the right arm is a little bit troubling in my mind. So to see that this goalkeeper here is able to actually go in with his right arm, the pivot foot, the foot is still on the ground, by the way. He's still trying to get up, you understand? And gets up to get the ball. To me, that's impressive. To me, that's impressive. And this is against Juventus, if I'm not mistaken. To me, he gets up and gets the ball. And so that is good news to me in my mind. It's good news to me. I do not know the guy from a kind of paint, but to me, that's good news. You get me? That is good news. And if it works out really well. And I would appreciate it. Now, Andre Onana is not the worst of goalkeepers. But guess what? I'm okay with understanding that situation. I'm okay with understanding that situation. And we keep moving. But this is also part of the situation here, right? We have we have Brian Mbembo, like I spoke to you guys. Brian Mbembo has Brian Mbembo's medical has is basically ready for next week. Is ready for next week. And he says here Manchester United's purchase for Brian Mbembo is one step closer to being complete. With the Brentford attacker now having his medical assessment in place, the Red Devils have managed to beat the likes of Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur to land their second major signing of the summer. While the Magpies were pulled off or put off by Brian Mbeumo's request for 250,000 wage, Spurs are still gunning for his signature. I don't actually think that that is the price of money that he's asking for. I honestly do not think so. Um, I honestly do not think so. So we are just going to go past this. You get me? I honestly do not think so. I think that might be overstated right now. Um, Gyökeres hand Manchester United major transfer boost. I've spoken about this already. Um, Gyökeres understands, right? He understands that his priority is Arsenal. But if Arsenal doesn't come in, he's ready to join Manchester United. And that alone, to me, is good news. So, Brandon Buemo's medical at Manchester United is expected to take place next week. And then we could see Brandon Buemo joining Manchester United full heartedly and joining Manchester United for a lot more, especially for the preseason. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this situation down below. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that follow button if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel so you guys do not miss anything that we do here on Pillar Sports. Much love to you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.